Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. God put it on my heart to share this message from Matthew chapter 16, verses 5 through 6. I'm not sure who it's for, but I'm going to be obedient to the Spirit. I'm going to share it. In these verses, it says that the disciples had forgot to bring bread to eat. And Jesus, knowing this, told them that they should be cautious of the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Should be cautious of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. When Jesus first said this, the disciples thought that he was talking about the physical bread that they would eat. But as the conversation persisted, they soon came to realize that Jesus was not talking about the bread that they would eat, but talking about the traditions and the ways and the habits of the Pharisees and Sadducees. See, the Pharisees and Sadducees, they had ways that seemed right, but deep down, that their ways, their habits, and their traditions were far from right as right could be. Well, how does this apply to us in today's time? Well, oftentimes we go through difficulties in life. We go through storms and trials and tribulations in life, be it either in our relationships, be it either in our marriages, be it in our jobs, be it with our children, whatever it may be. We're going through difficult times in life. And what does our flesh wants to do? Our flesh wants to do things that please the flesh. But we can't please the flesh in the midst of our storms and our adversities. Why? Because this is when our spirit man is most susceptible. This is when our spirit man is most vulnerable. But instead of seeking God, most of us seek things of the world. We're in the marriage and we're in a relationship. And instead of seeking God to bring peace to our relationship and bring peace into our marriage, we begin to seek other women or we begin to seek other men. But what happens? We make a life-altering decision. We make a life-altering choice. We begin to sleep around with a woman or a man that we never intended to be with. And what happens? Somebody gets pregnant. And now we're having a child with a woman that we never intended to be with. Or we sleep around and we catch a disease. We catch a life-altering disease that we never intended to have. But we make these choices and decisions based off our flesh. Or we at a job and we're having a difficult time in a job and we make a bad decision that causes us to lose our job. Or instead of seeking God, we please our flesh and we go drink ourselves into a pit. And we get a DWI, and we get a DWI and by making a bad choice or bad decision. Or we seek drugs instead of seeking God, and instead of seeking God, we seek those drugs. And what happens? We overindulge in the drugs and we end up in a hospital with brain damage or some type of organ damage. I just encourage y'all, whenever you're going through those difficult times in your life, do not, I repeat, do not please the flesh. Do not please the flesh. Seek God. See, God, how do I know? Because I have made these wrong choices and decisions by pleasing my flesh, and it has landed me in the pit of hell so many times. So I encourage y'all, whenever you're going through that difficult time, whenever you're going through that struggle, do not please your flesh and please your flesh. Seek God. Seek prayer and surround yourselves with individuals who can encourage you, who can motivate you, who can inspire you. Oftentimes we seek the wrong people, the wrong places, and the wrong thing. And what happens? They bring us down. Everybody's not your friend. Everybody does not have your best interests in mind. So be cautious of the individuals who you share your problems with. Be cautious of the individuals that you open yourself up to, because the enemy, he roars like a lion. He prowls around like a roaring lion. He's seeking whom he may devour. So just because somebody looks and seems to be your friend and has your best interest in mind, don't be fooled. The enemy will use anyone and anything to bring you down. But I encourage you, seek God. Seek God in the midst of your storms. Seek God in the midst of your adversity. Seek God, and he will give you peace. He will give you happiness that the world can't give and the world can't take away. So that's my prayer for you. Prayer for you and the prayer for me. In the midst of your adversities, don't seek the world, but seek God. I love you guys.